Hey, I'm Ryan Naylor, and I've got a little lesson for you today on chords, specifically chords in the key of E, which allow us to play some chord grips with some open strings. And why I really like this is it gives these great kind of open, lush sort of sounding chords. So what I'm going to do for you today is show you how this is achieved, give you some chord grips, and let you run away and have some fun with it. This is for everyone that is a kind of beginner. You can be a beginner with this stuff. It's just kind of introducing some new ideas and some new sounds if you're kind of sick of your open chords. So don't forget, if you do like the video, please give me a thumbs up. It really does help me out enormously. And subscribe if you're not part of the family. And let's get stuck in on the neck. Okay, so getting started, what we want to do is first map out an E major scale on our low E string. So we're starting with the open string E. And then the scale where it goes as follows. Now if we look to put that scale across the whole fretboard and start with an E major chord shape, what we can do is map out a chord from every single note of the scale. If we just walk up on each string, walk up a note. So I go to the next set of notes, and then up again, and again. Keep going. And I'm back at the 12th fret. Okay, so you might be hearing some sounds there. We have a major chord, minor, minor, major, major, minor. This is called a diminished chord, and then we're back at the major. So the rule is that we have a major chord off the first, the fourth, and the fifth notes in the scale, and then minor from the second, the third, and the sixth. Okay, the seventh note in the scale creates what is called a diminished chord. So they're bar chords, and they're really not for beginners. So what we can do is we can look to take out the fingers on strings 1 and 2. We're going to have strings 1 and 2 ring open throughout each of these chords. So we start with the E as normal. Now if we go to the second chord, which happens to be an F sharp minor, if we lift off the finger from string 1 and 2, I still have a note on the third string, the A, which I need to bar. So we have to we can't just lift off, we've got to go for a bit of refingering. So I'm going to use finger 1 on that third string, and that would mean that I have to put my thumb on the top to grab the bass note. Now what you can do is you can go without that bass note. Don't worry too much about the bass, but I have contact with the string so it doesn't ring out. So I don't want to hit that open E string. So already that's got a bit of a nicer sound. That's not so good. Here it is. Okay, so here's the minor chord, and here is the new F sharp minor 7, add 11 with a C sharp bass. There you go. It's a great sounding chord. That's all we need to know. Now that chord shape continues if I go up a whole step, 2 frets. So the 3 chord, that's going to be a G sharp minor, add flat 13 over a D sharp. Also Guitar Pro tells me. And then as we go to the 4th chord, it's a major chord, but the major shapes are useful that we can put finger 1 back on and lift off the bar, and that's going to be okay. We get this sound, it's an A add 9. Lovely sounding chord. A add 9. That shape stays in as we go up another whole step tone to a B add 11. Love that one. And then we can continue into the C sharp minor 7 like the other minor grips. But at this point in our acoustic, on this acoustic especially, it kind of gets a bit cramped up here. So then it calls for maybe grabbing some chord shapes from the bass note on the 5th string. Okay. But let's just review what we had there on string 6. We had an E, F sharp minor add 11, G sharp minor add flat 13, A add 9, B add 11. Okay, so already if you've got a simple kind of 1-4-5 progression, E is my 1 chord, here comes the 4, A, B, 1. So then putting these chord shapes onto the 5th string as well, if we think about the notes from the E major that we have on the 5th string, we have the A, that's going to be the 4th of the scale, and then we have the B at fret 2, is the 5th, C sharp is the 6th, D sharp is the 7th, and I'll go back to the root note, the E, on fret 7. Okay, so those chords we saw before would be A major, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished, and E major again. So we can apply the same process as we did before. We're going to open up strings 1 and 2, and we're going to create these sounding chords, an A sus2. Love it, always love that one. A B sus4. Now note the chord grip here, it's kind of like a power chord from the 5th string. This one of my personal faves, C sharp minor 7. Love that clash. Then we could have this one from the diminished shape. Again, a beautiful sounding chord, don't tend to use that one. Not really sure how to name it either, but it's there. And then, what is an E5? An E5 power chord, there's no 3rd in that chord, it's just all roots and 5ths. A very great sounding chord. Okay, so they're the chord shapes. What you want to do is kind of work up and down them, finding them 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, and kind of move them around, 6, 5 even, 4, 1, okay, and try coming up with some chord progressions. I just started earlier on with a chord progression just on the fly. These are kind of inspired by songs I've learned, but kind of another example here was something like this. There'll be a prize for anyone that can name that song. Alright, there you go, there's the chords, have some fun with them. Okay, so there you go, I hope that was of interest to you. If you did enjoy it, don't forget, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon for another guitar lesson. Bye!